Morning guys, I'm Dave Canterbury with the Pathfinder School, and I posted some pictures last night on my Facebook Learning Center page about a belt or sash that I was working on an Inkle loom. And I had a lot of questions about that, and looming is one of those things that is a pioneering type skill or a life skill that everyone should really know that's going to be self-reliant. And I had so much curiosity about this loom that I thought I would go ahead and make a video introducing this thing, and we'll talk about the components and the pretense of how you loom, and then I'll show you later on how to set this loom up, how to build this loom, and then how to get this loom ready to start weaving. But for now, I'm going to show you it in its already set up state in the middle of a project. We'll talk a little bit about the nomenclature of the loom itself and how you weave, and then we'll move backwards instead of forward. So stay with me guys and we'll get started. All right, this is an Inkle loom, and an Inkle loom is a tape loom, basically, that is capable of making anything from a belt to a sash to trim on clothing to a haversack strap, backpack straps. All those things can be made very easily on an Inkle loom. I'm making a belt right now, and you can see what it looks like here, and I'm using jute twine. So now I have something that's multifunctional. I have a belt that I can wear and tie around my waist to hold my knife or whatever in the winter outside my outer garments, but it's also tinder material in case I need it. And I'm just using a green colored cordage and a regular tan colored jute cordage so that I have a small pattern in here that you can see as I've loomed it here. Now, the way these looms work is setting them up to begin with is the biggest pain. Looming is easy. Setting up the loom is a bit of a pain, and we'll talk about that in another video because I want to show you how to build this loom and then how to prep this loom for looming. But in this video, because I'm already partway through this project, we'll talk about the looming first and some of the nomenclatures that will help you understand things as we set it up later. So the cord that goes across and around all of these things is called the warp. These are warp threads. All right. This set of strings that comes up from here is called the Heddle. And basically it is just a loop that's around every other string. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to open what's called a shed, which is where you're going to do your weaving. So you'll open a shed, and that's where you'll slide your shuttle through with your cordage. Then you'll push this down and open a shed the opposite direction here, and that'll be the next place you put your shuttle. So you are then looming the material together. The good thing about this is that you can advance this because it will rotate around all of these pegs, and you can move this stationary, what's called a Heddle, like this, and just move it up the material as you're weaving. And it makes it a fairly simple task to make a longer object. And the more of these pegs that you have, or the higher this thing is with more pegs on it, the more material you can get on here, so the longer strap you could make. So making, say, a 20-foot long tump line would not be difficult with a loom like this. Now, I've got an area here where I've run out of jute twine on my shuttle. And in this case, I'm just using a net needle. You can make a special shuttle for this, but I use a net needle. That way it's multifunctional. I only have to have the one tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a shed by pushing down on the warp strings here, and that's going to open a shed here, and that's where this one came through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to come through here just like this, just like I would have, except I'm going to have a double cord here, and I'm going to pull a little bit of this edge out from this last one here, and I'm just going to tuck it down inside there just like this, and I'll trim it off later, and then I'm going to pull it tight, and then I'm going to continue as if this was what my needle was connected to, which is here. So I'm going to open up another shed here and run it through and tuck it in. Now you don't want to pull these really tight or you're going to compress your band. So when you do this and you push down and you do every other one, you want to beat it down after the fact. So I've pulled it down through there fairly snug. When I open up my next shed here and I come down, that's when I'm going to beat that down. And I can tighten that up pretty easy from there if I want to. If it's not quite tight enough, I can just pull the tail. Come in loose on the next one, push down, open up another shed, beat it down, and pull it through. Take off a couple more pieces of wraps of cordage so I've got it loose. Lift up my next shed, slide my shuttle or my needle through, pull it down, go to the next one. It's very, very simple process. Like I said, the most difficult part of this whole thing really is threading the loom to begin with. The looming process is very easy. All you're doing is alternating the sheds that you're opening up with your fingers and slide your shuttle through. It's just exactly that simple. And then you just have to be able to understand that you can advance this around by sliding it like this and pushing up on your stationary Heddle strings just like this. And that allows you more space again to weave. It's very, very simple. On a larger loom, this Heddle here is generally just a square plate of some kind that has holes and slots. And every other strand goes through a hole or a slot so that when a pedal is pushed down, the Heddle itself moves up or down to open up that shed and rotate those wharfs up and down. With this, it's stationary and you just move it with your hand so that you can open that shed manually. But this is a very, very quick way to make a belt. I'm 3/4 of the way done with this and I know I hadn't been working on it for an hour. So it's very, very simple. The biggest pain of this process, or any looming process really, is threading the loom to begin with. And we'll go through that in another video. Well, guys, I appreciate you joining me today for a simple introduction to weaving on an Inkle loom. Like I said, I'll make a couple other parts of this video after I teach a basic class this weekend. We'll make another loom from scratch, from material, and then we will show you how to set the loom up for looming. And we'll talk about that, like I said, in part 2 and 3 probably of this video, because that's going to take a little bit of time. Appreciate you joining me today. I thank you for all your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, for our business, for all of our instructors, affiliates, sponsors, and friends. I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.